like to invite all the elected officials up here to the front, if they would, please. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and get the meeting started. First off, I want to welcome all the elected officials here. And when I get started, I'm going to read a press release that has already went into the paper and that's already on the website. And then we're going to go into the millage. An open letter to the taxpayers of Pickens County from Rob Jones. To begin with, I would first like to thank all of the people who have provided thoughts and information to me on the subject of the proposed millage rate increase. Both those who have attended all 3 public meetings and those who have approached me outside of those meetings, although these discussions can be tense and even acrimonious at times, they are an important part of successful government run by the people. I have also had discussions with the individuals that you have elected to serve you in Pickens County. These include Judge Brenda Weaver, your Chief Superior Court Judge, Rodney Gibson, your Probate Court Judge, David Lindsay, your Probate Court Judge-elect, Alan Wigginton, your Magistrate Judge, Donnie Craig, your Sheriff, Joe Hendricks, your District Attorney, Allison Sosby, your District Attorney-elect, Gail Brown, your Clerk, Sharon Crogland, your Tax Commissioner, and Kevin Roper, your Coroner. To a person, they are each dedicated to reducing how they spend your tax money. They are also dedicated to generating more revenue in order to offset the cost of county government. 2 other people will help me with the budgetary obligations next year. You have already elected one with Becky Denny. She has read this letter and she believes in it. I fully believe that whomever you elect from the west side of our county will hear the same voices that I have heard when he or she makes decisions as to how to spend your money. The problem we face with this year's millage rate is twofold. The first part has to do with the Young Life settlement. As most of you are aware, we are obligated to pay Young Life $400,000 on before January 15, 2013. As full settlement of claims Young Life as regarding the tax-exempt status of its property located in Pickens County. Young Life won this claim and more in the Court of Appeals earlier this year. I don't agree with the Court of Appeals ruling, and I venture to guess that the taxpayers who have read this ruling also disagree with it. However, our opinions do not matter and we must pay the money. This is a one-time payment. The matter needs to be put behind us so we can make a sound financial plans for the future. This leads me to the second part of the problem regarding this year's millage rate. The decrease in assessed values of property, which in turn leads to a decrease in the total value of our digest. In years past, we have been fortunate to experience growth, and with it, it is increasing the value of our digest. This increase in property values is one of the factors that helped us avoid an increase of the millage rate in the recent years. Therefore, it is this decrease in the value of our overall tax digest that worries me the most about our financial future. As the value of our property decreases, the same millage rate begins in less tax revenue. That seems to leave us with 2 choices: increase the millage rate or decrease spending. You have asked that spending be decreased, and we will heed that request. There's a third choice we can avail ourselves of when the tax digest decreases. As a team, your elected officials can generate revenue outside of the property tax levy. The sheriff's arrest and the judge's sentencing generate revenue through fines and forfeitures. Your elected officials looking at increasing these and other revenue sources for coming years. You have asked us to think outside the box, and we are. The process will not occur overnight. I've asked the elected officials to look at their budgets for the remainder of this year to see what can be cut to avoid an increase in this year's millage rate. Since we are already fast approaching the final quarter of our financial year, we are not many effective ways to eliminate money from these current changes, from these current budgets, Most of the spending obligations are already in place. Personnel changes made in the 4th quarter in the form of layoffs or furloughs will not generate significant cuts once the unemployment liability is factored in. because of the decrease in the value of this year's tax digest and because of the $400,000 owed to Young Life, we will need $656,694 in additional revenue to make the Young Life payment and to keep the county services at its current level. Your elected officials have determined that they can generate at least half of this $656,694 in the coming months. We will do this by working together and concentrating on new and innovative ideas for generating revenue that exist outside the box. Therefore, I believe the best decision of the 2013 millage rate is to set it at 6.65 mils. This is halfway between last year's millage rate of 6.25 and the 6.9 proposed in the earlier hearings. This will generate a total of approximately $328,347 additional revenue from what we received from last year's millage rate. Correspondence generated by this office does not accurately describe your elected officials' expenditures. For example, judicial administration shows an entry of $978,710 on or about issued by my office in the last public meeting held regarding our millage rate. Some of you had asked if Judge Weaver received $978,710 of your tax money. She did not. Pickens County spent $256,520 on judicial services, and the expenditure was not just for Judge Weaver. This expenditure also included the offices of Judge Bradley and Judge Messier. I apologize for the confusion caused by this handout and how it has colored your understanding of your elected officials' budget. A correction will be forthcoming from my office in the near future after certain personnel changes are finalized. I may not have control over how the other elected officials spend your money once I budgeted for them, but I will say this. Your elected officials are very careful with your money. As an example, the magistrate court was budgeted approximately $280,000 for 2011. In 2011, Judge Wigington spent a little over $230,000, thus saving the taxpayers approximately $50,000. He then reduced his 2012 budget from $280,000 figure allocated to his office in 2011 to approximately $250,000. I am sure that Judge Wigington could have used the extra $30,000 he gave up from the 2011 budget amounted, and I'm sure that he could have spent it in a manner that made the office more amenable to the public approval. However, his choice was to return it to the taxpayers. This is one of many examples throughout the county government of the fiscal responsibility of your elected officials. The county spending will change next year. You have asked for it to be decreased. It will be decreased. County services will not be at the current level next year because cuts will be made. My understanding from comments made to me over the past few weeks that we are willing to spend a little more time in line to pay our property taxes, and we are willing to wait a few more days for a building inspector if it means our property taxes don't increase. I and the rest of your elected officials will make those cuts, and we will make them as a team, as you see them sitting right here. The safety and security of our citizens will be primary concern for all involved. Therefore, please do not judge each department individually, for this will be a comparing apples to oranges. I ask you to judge us on how we perform as a team in coming together to keep expenditures across the board we do. We are committed to making sacrifices for the common good, regardless of how it makes the individual look. That is a rare in politics. But if you have a unique team of elected officials, that can and will work together. We will have to. The years ahead will be difficult. As I noted above, the value of our tax digest has decreased. Because of local events associated with our banks and the housing market, I believe we will experience an even sharper decline in the value of our tax digest in the years to come. Our goal then becomes, one, to avoid dramatic increase in the millage rates because of the depressed figure tax digest. This can only be accomplished with planning and cooperation throughout county government. Judge Brenda Weaver, Judge Rodney Gibson, Judge David Lindsay, Judge Al Wigington, Donnie Craig Sheriff, Joe Hendricks DA, Allison Sosby, Sharon Troggle, and Gail Brown, Kevin Roper, Becky Denny, and myself are united in our efforts to achieve this goal for you. I want to thank you for the opportunity to do so. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm signing this resolution. Therefore, be it resolved that the 2012 millage rate shall be at 6.65 mils for the county, adopted in legal assembly this 12th day of September 2012. I'll get Ms. Watson to attest. Again, I want to thank the elected officials sitting here with us. This is something we don't take lightly. It has been a struggle the last 3 weeks to make this happen, to get all of us together. and this meeting is now adjourned. Thank you very much.